started, I just thought I would briefly outline how IDC defines the hyperconverged market with broad brushstrokes to salient points. Four main points that I'd like to raise. Firstly, the hyperconverged market is based completely off commoditized server hardware. Secondly, these are all formed into clusters, starting from 3 or more. Thirdly, the internal storage, compute, and memory components of these server nodes are pulled together in an abstract layer that can then be consumed by the various applications and workloads running on it. The fourth criteria that I'd like to raise then is its recent integration into our converged systems tracker. Aspects for that's very important is obviously that the compute, storage, networking, and system management have to be included in this appliance for it to be categorized as hyperconverged. So that's the view that I'm going to be taking on hyperconverged. To start off, I thought it was very interesting just to portray how hyperconverged market is affecting the various IT markets at play. Thanks to Sylvia for identifying some of the more intricate storage classifications. This is look at Western Europe and the terabytes that we sell by terabyte in Western Europe external storage market. Obviously, you need to take this with a pinch of salt. I'm not suggesting that the hyperconverged market is solely responsible for the flattening out or softening of the external storage market. Sylvia has already identified that there are a couple of extra factors there. But there are some correlations, as identified by IDC's 2015 end user server storage survey, sorry, a mouthful there, that identified some key criteria for the buying behavior of storage at the moment. And this is basically the ease of management, space efficiency, increased automation, and ease of use as a main criteria. In the same survey, we pointed a question at the main drivers of hyperconverged, and these are scalability, speed of deployment, ease of use, and reduction of technical support. If we take a step back, we can see that there are quite a few similarities in the buying behavior of storage and hyperconverged systems at the moment. If we look at this from a line of business point of view, that outlines those criteria for me can be defined under two key topics or two key divisions. How do we simplify our infrastructure at the moment, and how do we do it at a more cost-effective rate? Excuse me here. And I mean, these aspects can obviously be defined or added to all the IDC third platform technologies out there, so that being cloud, big data, IoT. Therefore, it's understandable that the complicated high-end legacy infrastructure such as external storage at the moment is really starting to feel the impact of new technologies such as hyperconverged and software-defined storage. The same survey, we put to the end users what percentage of your storage is currently running on hyperconverged systems. As you can see, the vast majority, only 40%, use 1 to 10% of their storage workloads are run on hyperconverged. However, on a 12 to 18 month forecast, this looks slightly different as we see an uptake on hyperconverged penetration of the storage market. The hyperconverged market has been brushed with the same brush as VDI and ROBO, or remote office branch office, and I think a lot of people see these two aspects in congruency, that hyperconverged is identified for VDI or ROBO. This outlook, I think, is something that drastically needs to change for the hyperconverged market to take off, as the market A becomes a lot more competitive at the moment, and B, because it is a restricted TAM. There's only a certain total addressable market in VDI and robo deployments. So what does that mean? Where can hyperconverged grow then, if not VDI and robo? IDC identifies obviously cloud as the main area of growth, and obviously this is a forecast for the cloud infrastructure from 2013 to 2020. That's predicted to grow to, I think I've missed the scales up there, it's predicted to grow to close to $25 billion by 2020. Please excuse me if the scale is incorrect. Obviously that whole market cannot be addressed by hyperconverged. The public cloud is not a space where it can play aggressively in. However, traditional IT, I think once enterprise-grade hard or workloads are targeted by Hyperconverged, it's a market that they can break into more and more and more. However, where IDC really sees the main potential growth for Hyperconverged is the private cloud hosters and both on and off premise. It is the area where we predict the most growth or uptake of Hyperconverged, and this can be seen by some of the larger players in the market at the moment, Nutanix, for example, who's changed their market strategy or go-to strategy to focus on this private cloud industry. Currently, IDC predicts that the Hyperconverged market will grow to around $600 million by 2020. So just to surmise, go full circle and tie a bow on it, what I've been basically saying is for the Hyperconverged market to grow, it needs to break out of its current focus on VDI and robo deployments. And this needs to be done by really targeting enterprise-grade workloads and applications. And this can allow it to break into more of the traditional IT, start focusing in on private cloud deployments. And this leads to the second point, which is align itself with MSPs, hosters, and private cloud deployments. And obviously, these solutions can be either put in-house, but as we see a shift or a tendency to move towards the cloud, IDC sees the best bet for the Hyperconverged market is aligning itself with hybrid cloud deployments, hand in hand with hosters and managed service providers. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I'll pass on to Ashana.